Hello everybody, welcome to Gregsbeerreviews. Let's go see what's in the fridge today. Hey guys, thanks for stopping by Gregsbeerreviews today. I'm pretty damn sure this is going to be a tasty treat. This is the Lost Abbey, the Angel's Share. And this is aged in bourbon barrels. This is a 12.5%ers, and that's what it's called, Angel's Share Ale. Malt beverage aged in oak barrels. Brewed and bottled by the Port Brewing Company, and this is their Lost Abbey series. And this is a corked and caged bottle, so I'm fairly sure this is not a cheap beer. Parrish, my brother in California, sent me this, and he always sends me some freaking awesome beers, as well as most of you subs that send me beers are pretty damn tasty. A lot of the stuff that I cannot get in my area of Virginia, and I do appreciate it. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Y'all, the subs that I have, 14,600 and some of y'all are awesome. Y'all are freaking awesome. And I appreciate each and every one of you for watching and commenting. So let's get on with this one, because I don't want it to be a 30-minute video like a lot of them have been in there, or 20-some minutes in the last week or two. I am aware of that, and I'm going to try to cut down on my repetitiveness on some of these beers where I just keep saying the same thing over and over throughout the video. Try to be more aware of that. This is, like I said, a 12.5%er. I don't have the IBUs listed for this beer. The commercial description says, down in Kentucky and across the pond in Scotland, distillers who age their whiskeys for many years refer to the evaporation of the spirits from the barrels as the Angel's Share. We couldn't agree more. Each time a barrel is filled, a measure of liquid seeps into the oak and is lost for good. This striking, strong ale is brewed with copious amounts of caramel malt to emphasize the vanilla and oak flavors found in the freshly emptied bourbon or brandy barrels. The beer spends a year in oak before it is packaged for release. So this beer sits in a barrel for a whole year. Do you know how much that costs a brewery to do that, to have that beer taking up that space in a barrel for a year? That's why some of these barrel-aged beers are so pricey, guys. And especially on top of that, how much it costs to brew a 12.5% beer. So you got the cost of the materials to brew a beer of that magnitude, and then you got to buy the barrels, because they don't give them things away, and then you're putting your beer in that barrel, and it's taking up space for an entire year. So there's not a lot of breweries that have that kind of resources to spend that kind of money and then to have it set for a year. So that's why a lot of the costs on this. And then they do this type of bottle with the cork and the cage on this that's not capped through a bottling line. It costs money. I mean, and that's why you'll see, and a lot of people won't spend that kind of money on these type of beers. They go into a store and this beer is priced between $10 and $20 for one bottle, and it's not a great big bottle on top of that, and they go, nah. But they don't know what they're missing a lot of times. These beers are usually freaking awesome, especially if it's been a whole year. Now, a whole year. A lot of the breweries will put it there for a month, 2, 3 months, and then they'll bottle it. And then they'll do the same thing, and they'll keep it in there for 2 or 3, so they can run 3, 4 batches through that same barrel in a year's time. But when you see a brewery that puts this beer in there and it sets in that barrel for an entire year, that's usually going to be a fairly pricey beer, because of the time it's taking up storage space in their brewery for an entire year. Plus, the longer it sits in that barrel, the more it's going to absorb the whiskey or brandy or whatever was in it before the beer went in it. So a lot of times when it's been in there that long, it's going to usually have a heavy bourbon or a heavy brandy or whatever was in there, whatever distilled spirit was in there before the beer was introduced into it. So a lot of people that don't spend the money for these type of beers, and I'll have to raise my hand. A lot of times I won't spend the money for some of these beers unless I've heard or read or talked to somebody that has had it and it is phenomenal or awesome or outstanding or worth the money. So, but a lot of people don't want to spend that kind of money. They don't. I mean, if you're spending $15 for one bottle of this, when you can buy a 4-pack of Old Rasputin, it's 10% or whatever. And they'll say, well, I'll just pick up the 4 Rasputins instead of spending the money on this. But you're not going to get the same flavor from an Old Rasputin, even though it's a wonderful beer, a very tasty beer, as you're going to get from something like this that's been barrel aged for an entire year. So, enough said on that. Food pairings for this beer says here, cheeses are nutty, Asiago, Colby, Parmesan, and glassware is Plank, Becker, Nonic, Tumbler, Snifter, Mug, Sign, and Sidell. I brought out the double glass for this one, and it says can be settled for a long period. At 12.5%, absolutely. This beer will keep 5, 10, 15, even 20 years, guys. So I don't think there's anything else we need to talk about, and as much as I hate to pop the cork and cage out of this one, that's exactly what we're getting ready to do. Parish, my brother, thank you very much. And I had somebody tell me a tip on this. Trying to twist this out of the cork bottles. They say grab a hold of the cork and twist the bottle. That didn't work. So let me get the strong arm on it because I'm right-handed. That works. Here we go. One more time. Maybe 2 more times. Ah, yes. And look at the smoke coming out. Very nice. Very, very nice. Into the glass we go. 12.5%. I think it'll generate a head. Ooh, I can smell it from here, guys. Wow. About a finger of head on that aggressive pour, guys. Over to the light. I'm not getting hardly any. I'm looking for some red tinges around the outside edges, but the double glass doesn't lend too much to that. There is no thin parts of the glass, really. If I had the solid beer glass, I might be able to see some red tinges through that little bottom small part of the glass. It's cold. But on this glass, I see none. So it looks pretty dark. And the head is dissipating very quickly. It's just barely covering the top of the beer. Let's get a nose on this one and see what we got. Wow. Oh yes, I am getting the bourbon. I had one of my subs say, won't you just take a shot of bourbon and throw it in your stouts? That may work. That may work. Bourbon right off the top. It's got a strong, I don't want to say off the chain, but it's got a strong bourbon-esque nose on it. Some hints of some dark fruit in there. Plums, dates, raisins, figs. Wow, that is such an awesome smelling beer. I am a sucker for a bourbon barrel aged beer. Maybe some toffee or brown sugar in there, caramel, candied sugar. Nice sweet aroma, nice sweet smell. 12.5%er. I'd say this will probably get the job done. And like I said, Abbey is part of the Port Brewing. I think this is their premium line, just like Michelob would be Budweiser's premium line. This is their premium beer, if you will. I just wish I could buy some of these beers like this around here. From my experience, the Lost Abbey beers are freaking awesome usually. 99.9% of the time they are to be desired. They are to be desired. And every time I get a Brewing package from Parrish or somebody else, and I've seen something that's bourbon barrel aged, I'm just thinking to myself, Greg, you're such a lucky son of a bitch, you, to have these beers sent to you that you cannot get here that are this freaking awesome. Wow, that blows me away. Wonderful aroma, guys. Let's give it a taste. I flattened my gums long enough. Let's put some beer on them. Outstanding bourbon influence from this beer being in the barrel an entire year. It has absorbed so much of that bourbon. It almost has like a wine-esque quality, like I'm getting some grapes or dark deep cherries in the beer too. Very complex. Maybe a hint of tobacco or some coffee in there. This beer is wonderful, guys. There's no burning in the throat for a 12.5%er. Very well made beer. Wow. The Lost Abbey beers just blow me away every time I have one. That is awesome, Parrish. Thank you, sir. Thank you, my brother. And this is the final beer of the evening. Once you have something of this magnitude, nothing else is going to touch it usually. You can't drop back and have a Bell's Two Hearted Ale or Sierra Nevada Hop Hunter or anything like that after you've had a beer like this. It's just, you're not going to even hardly taste it. What I normally do is start off with something lighter like a pale ale or an IPA, then move up to maybe a wheat heavy or a Scotch ale or even a barley wine, a lighter barley wine. Then try to finish it up with an imperial porter or a stout. And if I'm lucky enough to have a bourbon barrel aged version of those, that would top off my evening, and I've had my 3 beers and I'm done. So right out of the fridge, 40 degrees, guys, before this thing runs on and on and on. And I keep flapping my flaps. We're going to take it back and let it warm up. Might fire up a little cigar to go with this. And I have so many people saying, oh, you need to do cigar and pairing, and I'm gonna try to get to that this year, guys. I still consider myself a novice. I've only smoking cigars a little over a year now. To be putting myself on the internet. I've been drinking beers for 40 years. I've only been smoking cigars for about a year and a half, so kind of a novice on that. But I've already graduated from the lighter cigars up to the full-bodied ones, so maybe it'll happen in 2015, guys. So let me take it back and let her taste it, and we'll come back and do the final chug. Be right back. Alright, guys, I'm back. Got just a little left here. Been sipping on it about, I don't know, 45 minutes or so. It's warmed up very nicely. Very delicious beer. The bourbon is just off the chain, guys. It really is, especially for something that's been aged in a barrel for that long. So, very, very tasty. Final chug. Wow. The bourbon, like I said, it just blows everything else away, even room temperature. Especially when you're going to age it that long in a bourbon barrel. It's really going to absorb those flavors of the spirit that was in there before then. So a lot of the guys, like I said, only do it for 3 or 4 months or 6 months. This has been in the barrel for a whole year. and it tastes like it's been in a barrel for a whole year. The bourbon is this overpowering everything, really. There is some hint of some dark fruit in there, and this is a prime example to cellar, to let those flavors come together and get more complex over time, and just see what the beer ends up being at 5, 10, 15, even 20 years down the road. So just the flavors are at room temperature. The bourbon is overpowering still everything, but I am getting some dark fruit in there, and hints of tobacco and coffee and a whole lot of stuff going on with it, even fresh. I know how much better that's going to be down the road. Like I said, at 12.5%, this beer is going to keep for a long, long, long time, guys. So, as far as I'm concerned, this is a 10 beer, guys. It really, really is a prime candidate for cellaring. Pick it up, spend the extra bucks for it, and then put it away for a while. Let it sit for 5 or 10 years, and then bring it out for a special occasion and share it with a few friends. You could almost drink it like a liquor. Pour 2 or 3 samples in a glass for some people, some of your friends, or whatever, and let them all try it just a little bit. I'm sure they'll be blown away. They really will, especially if they appreciate a bourbon barrel aged. And I'm going to say a stout, but it's really not a stout. Rate Beer has it as a barley wine, and Beer Advocate has it as an American strong ale. So there's a fine line there in between a bourbon barrel aged stout and a bourbon barrel aged barley wine and a bourbon barrel aged strong ale. I mean, they have a lot of similar qualities when they've been bourbon barrel aged like this. And it was a very dark beer poured into glasses you've seen. So a lot of times the stronger ales have a little lighter color, and the barley wines can be dark like a stout, but usually they have a little red ruby tint color to them, and the stouts are usually pretty dark. So, well, this being as dark as it was, I mean, it can be classified as any of those, especially when it's been in a bourbon barrel for a whole year. So those fine lines between the variations of the beer kind of get blended together, if you will, on a beer of this magnitude and a beer of this quality. Very well made, very well made. As far as I'm concerned, guys, this is a 10. It is a 10, no matter what style it is, whether you consider it American strong ale or a barley wine or even a stout. There is, I'm not getting a lot of chocolate out of the beer, which a lot of the stouts have because of the malt that they use. But between a barley wine, which is usually a lot sweeter than a typical beer, and an American strong ale, which, like I said, once you get into the barrel-aged versions of these beers, it's kind of hard to distinguish between them. Some of those flavors are, especially if you age it for a while, I think it would be very, very hard to do a blind taste test on a beer like this and tell you exactly what you were drinking. I mean, because it could be very easily be an American strong ale that's been aged in bourbon barrels, or it could be a barley wine that's been aged in the bourbon barrels, or even a stout that's been aged, because a year in the barrel is going to give it such an intense bourbon flavor, or whatever barrel you put it in, whether it's brandy or even a wine barrel. You're gonna get those influences in the beer where it's going to be hard to determine exactly what style that they're after here. So very tasty though. Parrish, this was an awesome beer, my brother. I enjoyed it thoroughly. I really did. It's very, very tasty. I wish I could get these kind of beers here in Virginia on the East Coast. I would definitely pick up one of these and cellar, or even 2 of these, and cellar one for maybe 5 years, and then review it, and sell another for even 10 or 15 years, and review it from there if I lived that long. And that would be the thing about it, having all these beers in your refrigerator, and then you pass away, and the other half is going, damn, look at all these good beers I've got to drink. So you want to get to them before you go see St. Peter at the gate. That's the thing about it. You can sell them too long and you won't get to taste them. So that's the thing about it. When you get my age, you want to know, well, I'll sell this over 10 or 15, even 20 years, and will I be here then to taste it? So But anyway, 100 from Rate Beer on this one, and it's 100 from me, and 95, which is world class, from Beer Advocate. I think that number's a tad low. I think it's deserving of the 10 great guys. So, if you've had this one from Lost Abbey, this is their Angel Share bourbon barrel aged version. Very, very tasty. Hey guys, that's it for this one. If you've had it, let me know what you think, and let's go see what's in the fridge tomorrow, guys. See you then.